So you just go in and you have the surgery and then you go home?
Well, soon afterwards, it's, I think it says there.
Okay, go in at 9 o'clock, surgery's at 11:30. It doesn't say when you leave, but you gotta go back the next day
Yeah,
at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I think it says something like 1 something.
Going back the next day is gonna be a chore for mother too, I tell you.
Well, maybe if he understands that, he'll put it to later in the day. That's on the 2nd we go see him. We make definite plans.
You got, the next day is Friday, so you probably ought to go see him that afternoon.
Yeah, but he probably could change it, you know,
Till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon or something.
or 11,
Yeah.
something like that.
We probably ought to call him because we might have other stuff scheduled.
Yeah.
What's, okay, you gonna wear a patch on your eye for a few days, is that the deal, or?
I think so. You know, I just don't know what's saying that.
Really? I've seen people over there.
It'll probably be a week or two before you can really start to see again. Whether or not-
3 weeks.
3 weeks before you can see?
You know, that you'll
Mm-hmm.
feel like you are normal.
Well, it's 9 o'clock. We're gonna eat by 11.
Yeah. Maybe before. If it gets done. I think he didn't started plenty early, but yet, you know, I can't
I
tell.
started early because I know that John and Jason probably want to start home.
Yeah. Get going sometime. Where's this trash go, outside in the dumpster?
Oh, yeah. I'll use it.
Talking so that,
I've been talking.
so I can get started. Or, so I can get.
Well, we left off, we left off at the end of World War II, I think, didn't we? Isn't that where we left off at? We were talking about VJ Day and how you and Dad.
Did I tell you about going downtown Indianapolis?
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. And you, and then you met up with Dad and you went on that trip to Florida.
Mhm.
You told us about that.
Mhm.
And then you, let's see, then you came back and I don't think we ever talked about where you went to work at. Or you went, okay, you talked about going to work, garden people before you got out of the service. And I think we really ended up right at the end of the service. Well, you were gardening at Fort Bend.
Oh, yeah, I was a gardener. Then I went to Fort McClellan to learn how to garden at people at Fort
That
Bend.
you'd already gardened.
After I'd been gardening for a month.
Yeah.
Then you got out.
And then, the war was over and they sent me to, Atterbury for discharge.
Yeah. So when you got out of Atterbury, what'd you do?
Let's see, we went back to my folks.
Your grandpa and grandma Davises and them.
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
What did I do for a while? Just a farm, started farming.
Well, that first year you had a little patch of ground
Then
over there at the crossroads.
28 and 52.
28 and 52. It was over there right above Crows, wasn't it? Crows? Where Crows belong? That little patch there, that woman that lived in Frankfurt had
Oh, yeah.
a little patch of ground. Wasn't that all you had that first year?
I don't know.
I think so.
Now, what year was that? 46?
Probably have been 46, isn't it?
46?
And he was sick. And that was the year he was in the hospital.
I don't remember him being in the hospital.
Well, he was trying. Well, you wasn't born yet.
Well, I know that.
Said he was having diarrhea so much and was so thin,
Mhm.
and we thought he had amoebic dysentery.
What'd you turn it off for?
Well, it's still running. Now you just don't have to look at yourself.
Oh, good.
And we thought maybe he had amoebic dysentery, and we went to Dr. Flack in Lafayette because he was a leading medical doctor. Well, he could never find it, and so they decided it was more like and some nervous sort of thing.
From the electoral
And he gave him
I
some
think it was a
medicine.
Hindu bug.
Yeah, and they did give him some medicine, and every time he'd have it, he'd take that. He did it for years,
Really?
and then it just disappeared.
How many years you think? 5?
I imagine.
Did the Veterans Administration give you the medicine? Or did
No.
You had to go by yourself?
We bought it ourselves. It wasn't very expensive, and they did never give him credit. You applied at the Veterans Office.
Yeah, see, I come back from overseas, I went to the hospital and had tests, and I hadn't been home for so long, I said, the heck with the hospital and left. So I didn't stay long enough for them to put anything on the record, which is a mistake. But I imagine a lot of it happened back then.
That was in 46, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So how long were you in the hospital?
Well, maybe
It wasn't very
we,
long.
Yeah, week or something.
5 days, something like that.
Okay, so that was, and that was after your trip to Florida, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so then you came back, okay, you got out of the hospital and you went to live with Grandma and Grandpa there in Colfax on the farm.
No, yeah.
On the farm,
Mhm.
outside of Colfax.
Yeah.
And what, was it fall, spring, winter?
Till the next spring when we
Well,
got-
when did you move in?
Well, it was
Spring,
in the
fall?
Fall, August.
Yeah, it's whenever we come back, when I discharged in August, was it?
I don't know, I think so.
I suppose we come from there right to my folks, didn't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah. Okay, so in August, you were, you probably helped Grandpa harvest that fall probably,
Yeah.
and took care of the cows and everything on at the farm. Now, that was in the fall, so you didn't have time to go get your own ground to put out a crop or anything. So you just lived there and worked on Grandpa Davis's farm probably for the winter.
Yeah.
For the winter, and then what did you do that winter, Mom? Did you work or not? You probably stayed there with
Let's see,
Grandma.
well, right soon after he got home from the circus, someone called me from down at Lafayette and wanted me to do private duty. And it was a relation to Aunt Anna Mae, Vale, that, I forget her first name, but her name, they lived in Jefferson. And I think she was dying of cancer. And so I went down and spatialed her. And then, I don't know, it just seemed like one thing led to another case. And I guess I did private duty for a while.
That winter, you think?
I must have. It don't seem like I ever was without work, hardly any, especially if I wanted it.
Yeah. So how did you drive from Colfax to Lafayette?
No, yeah, I did, yeah.
That'd been in 1946.
Private duty, you probably stayed with them for a while.
Well, in 12 hours. And,
So you drove, so Dad was there helping out on the farm, and you drove to Lafayette
and,
5 days a week, or
well, yeah, every day if he was on private duty.
really?
Mhm.
Through winter and through Christmas that year?
Well, I
You know,
don't, I don't remember.
I
It
can't
was so
remember
long.
what I did.
It wasn't
either,
that
but,
long.
Yeah.
But then somebody else would come along. And then I started in, especially in Orvin Coy in Frankfurt. And I was on that case several months.
Well, what kind of car did you have to drive that first year? Did Mom have one?
41 Ford.
You had a 41 Ford you were driving? And,
I had that all the time he was in the Army.
okay, so you were sharing that, you just had one car and you were sharing that
I
winter?
had a picture of it somewhere.
Yeah, I got a picture.
And so, Dad working on the farm, you were going to Lafayette some. Did you sleep in the upstairs bedroom there at the
Yeah,
farm?
we always had the upstairs.
Was that the upstairs? Yeah.
It was to the south.
What was Aunt Betty and Uncle Donald doing at that time? Aunt Betty was married?
Donald Farmer, wasn't
Was it?
he? Yeah.
When did you go to the
Yeah.
railroad?
He probably lived out, either on the Holtar farm
That's where he was
or,
That had to be it, because I don't remember them anyplace else.
Well, they farmed that farm down in 52 by
That's
Sugar
right.
Creek.
But that was before we got married.
Well,
So,
I thought they farmed that out there also.
Then, was Aunt Betty married then, probably? Yeah.
she lived in Thorntown then, didn't she? I think ever since I was in the family, she lived in.
I think they lived in Thorntown up until after I was born, I think, didn't they?
Yes, 'cause I've got a picture of you at Aunt Betty's.
Mhm.
And,
What'd Uncle Dick do then?
I don't know, did he own a restaurant one time in Thorntown? I know he
not
worked,
when we was married.
I know
that was when he
he
was a
worked in
kid.
restaurants and he drove a truck and done something. And seemed like he owned a restaurant. I mean, he could cook, I know he done all that stuff,
Is that where he learned to cook at?
I think so.
Yeah. What, well, he's from Thorntown, wasn't he?
Yes,
Yeah,
he grew up there.
that's right.
Mhm.
So him and Aunt Betty lived in Thorntown, that's probably where Jeannie was born at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
know.
I bet it was. She's 3 or 4 years older than Julia at least, isn't she?
Oh, well.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, you guys had the upstairs, again, 46, probably the winter of 46 and spring of 47. So what'd you do in the spring of 47?
That's when I rented that farm in Myrtle,
I
I think.
think so.
I was there 1 year,
1 year on this other farm?
then we went to Dale Warren Farm up in Jefferson.
I know, but what, on the Myrtle farm, did you live there, or did you, just 1
It was a
year?
nice, neat little bungalow house. It was really, at that time, then I was working at Clinton County Hospital on a private case. And that's when I took care of Orrin Coley. I forget what he had, he was a terminal disease,
Hmm.
something terminal.
But you say you worked at his house or something?
No, I worked in the hospital, he had a private room in the hospital.
At Clinton County?
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, where was this Myrtle farm at?
You know, the Clarksville Mansion Road,
Yeah.
and you know where Waddell Grain Company, that,
Yep.
would be towards the mansion about,
Mhm.
was we on that road?
Yes, it was on that road.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about it. I think I remember driving by it one time.
Well, it's right, it almost, the farm almost touches 65,
Okay.
on the west side.
How come you just did it 1 year?
She had a guy that influenced her to go back there and live out there, and he'd take care of her.
Oh, yeah.
And it was, he was a crook,
Is that right?
and she went back and lived there. I think he almost got her farm.
Is that, she was an older woman, was she?
Boy,
Yeah, and she's diabetic.
Yeah. This guy moved in with her or
Well, it was a
something?
good family.
As a husband or as?
No, it's
No,
just taken care of.
caretaker.
Oh, yeah.
He
Mhm.
wanted to take her
She could,
for the farm.
she could live on the farm again.
Huh,
She wanted to come back to the farm,
yeah.
and she could live there, and they moved there.
So, we was without a farm for a while till I rented Dale Warren Farm in February.
February of 48?
48, I think.
48?
Well, you weren't, it was,
I was September of 48, so that'd been before I was born.
yes, but it seemed like to me we was there almost a year before you was born.
Maybe you did it in 47. Maybe you did the first one in 46. The war was over in 45.
Yeah, I don't know, but it was in there
It seemed to me,
somewhere.
I always thought we went to Dale Warren in 48 and we left in 52. I know we left in 52. I always thought it was a 4-year deal.
I thought it was a 5-year.
Well, I can remember going to Dale Orm's house, but it might have been after we moved off.
Yes, it could have been.
Although I remember that house. I remember crawling in the cupboards and stuff. Of course, we had pictures of it. I
Yes,
think.
we
Yeah.
had pictures of that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I remember that house a little bit in the front yard and stuff.
And Steve was born then when he was there,
Okay.
and then,
Well, let's say you moved there, and, so you wanna say you moved there in 47 before I was born, or?
yeah, oh,
Or,
yeah.
well, a year before, or just,
Yeah.
how about 6 months before I was born?
I think it was longer than that. I don't think I was pregnant for you when we moved there,
All right.
but it was shortly afterwards.
So you lived there and you started farming there. Where'd you get your equipment at?
Grandpa Davis, I had
Well,
beginnings
the beginning. I don't know,
when and
like
dad.
I had my own tractor though. See, I bought a new international tractor and a Alice Chalmers combine. And then when we went to Dale, we got a new Ford outfit, all the stuff we went with it. And we had a grinder there, my international wasn't hardly powerful enough. I traded it off, got a co-op tractor.
Oh, I remember that co-op tractor, yeah.
And, I guess I had it until I moved out here at Mulberry.
Yeah, I remember running it through a fence once, so. What did Dale Arm do? Did he just farm, is that all he did?
He got his start in the grocery business in Frankfurt,
Mm.
and he bought that farm out there, and then he farmed it himself for several years.
Mhm.
Had a hard man all the time.
Did you have a hired man in 48 or 49?
When we lived there. we
Did you?
That's when we had the Shire boy that lived with us.
Had Jim Flanagan too, and then he had that cornet horn, and you get out there early in the morning, blow that thing, and carry him all over in Clinton County. Remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
So the neighbors down there heard him or something.
That, you weren't, well, you were only a couple miles from Jefferson, weren't you,
Yeah.
really?
Closer than that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
expected a mile.
Mile from Jefferson. That one you get to know, what was that grocer's name in Jefferson?
Oh, George
Oh,
Gilman.
Hellman, yeah. Yeah.
That old house is still standing. I think it's 100 years old when we lived there.
Yeah, that was too.
I remember that house.
And a beautiful stairway.
Dale remodeled it for, put in a furnace and all
The
that, bathroom.
bathroom.
Oh, he did that?
Uh-huh.
And what did you leave him for?
He wanted to go back to farming after 4 years, couldn't stand the parting with all that money.
Is that right? He could, cause you were on
See,
shares?
he had cattle, oh yeah, he had cattle there. We bought into them, and we made a pretty good hunk of money off of the cattle. Just that time, back then, after the war, everything was going up, you know.
Mhm.
So, guys, we paid off all our debts and had $5,000, bought a new car, I don't know what, all we were going to town, and he couldn't stand it, I guess. He wanted our half too.
Yeah,
He said he needed it.
said he needed it, huh?
Yeah.
He always had
But
fun.
he liked to work. I saw him one time over there at the farm, and he was out there pounding up cement, an old floor. And you know, if someone had money, well, they wouldn't usually stand around doing something like that.
Uh-huh.
But he wanted it done. Is that stuff cooking in the skillet? You might,
Much what?
is it steaming?
No,
Well, turn it up to about between cheese and meat, about
Okay.
halfway. Get it to going.
alright. So what did, Dale, so when how much notice did he give you?
Oh, the usual,
What's the
in the
usual?
fall, you know, in the
Oh,
fall.
in the fall, just told you in the fall.
Uh-huh, and then,
He was nice about it, I guess.
oh, he was as nice as he could be, but Keith got mad. No one was very nice then. And, cause, see, Dale had told us that we could stay there until he didn't need anybody. Well, then he makes up his mind he wants to farm it himself, well, then that was a disappointment. And Keith
To you, yeah.
and Keith took it that he was dissatisfied with him,
Yeah.
and he was furious because he worked so hard,
Mhm.
you know, feeding cattle and raising
Yeah.
hogs and,
Milking cow.
farming,
You milk cattle? I don't remember that. Cows?
We had,
Holsteins.
how many cows? We got 16.
I don't ever remember milk
Oh,
cows.
Lord.
No.
He had a nice, he had it fixed up nice, he had, right off the milk, he had a milk parlor where, and he had milkers, electric milkers. But it was all work, I mean, I just work.
Hours, hours.
Hmm.
And we had this young man that's lived with us, and he graduated from high school while he lived with us. And,
Well, how did he didn't have a family or something?
yes, he had a family, but he just come there and lived with us so he could help do the chores of the evening and the morning.
Where did his
And then
family
the
live?
summertime,
Where did his family live?
just down at Pickle.
Oh, really?
And he was a twin.
Oh.
And, but I just, I felt about him like, just about like a son. He was just someone young, you know, to have around. And
What was his name?
Ted Shire.
Ted Chuck.
Ted Sharp.
And he's always been a good friend.
What's he
Right?
done over the years? I don't remember him.
Let's see, he works in Frankfurt. Why did he go?
Probably some factory or.
I believe he worked in a factory. And I used to go see him. And he was always asking about Johnny. Yeah, he was there when you was born. And so therefore it was always Johnny. Johnny this, how's Johnny? Well, where's he at? See, this is over the years. Whenever he'd see me in Frankfurt or Renton. Because he was really a family-oriented young man.
You get married and everything, I guess, that family?
Yes, I had a nice family. Still living, I'm sure.
Well, let's see, so so you're there 4 years then, and you raised cattle and milk cows and how many acres?
I think we had, about 10 sows.
10 sows. That's where you got your first experience with that, or did you, I guess you did it.
Well, we had hogs, I think I had 2 sows when I lived, one,
I
maybe
don't-
one, I think we only had,
Oh, we had more than that, didn't we, Myrtles?
huh?
Didn't we have more than
I
that,
don't think
Myrtles?
so. 1 or 2 sows.
Well, they, so you're there 4 years, and how many acres did you have? You answer that.
The Dales,
Yeah,
235.
that's what you farmed, was 235 acres. About all corn, or soybeans, or?
No, I made hay and we combined, clover seed and, I can't remember beans from that, yeah, I suppose we had wheat, beans and
Well,
corn.
beans weren't real big back then, they were just coming on, I
I
think.
think we had rolled out beans and wheat and corn and clover, of course,
You picked the corn on the ear, didn't you?
yeah.
And corn cribs, and you fed it to the hogs and the cows probably. The wheat,
He had 2 old box cars and a roof built for him.
that's where you put your corn in.
Well, he had a double corn crib too.
But yeah, sold the wheat, the elevator. What'd you do with the clover
Clover seed.
seed? And and then of course, what'd you have, fescue hay or something, I suppose?
Yeah, we made hay, bale straw and all that stuff, everything that worked.
Yeah, hay for the cows. 230 acres. Had your own equipment. Okay. Did that for 4 years. Let's see. What'd you do for fun?
Work.
Or-
I remember when they had that tornado in southern Indiana, what was the name of that town, wiped out that town. Dad, Mom, and Mary Jane and I drove down to see it on a Sunday.